Hey everyone, this is Sage Valentine, and you are basically watching my review of The Walking Dead, Season 4, Episode 14, The Grove. This episode, for me, was pretty, sad. And I've seen a lot of sad episodes, but this one was really sad because it dealt with Carol having to watch two more people that she care for die, and the fact that they were children is the worst part of the whole situation. So here goes. Ty, Mika, Lizzie, and Carol and Judy are all on the train tracks. Tyrese and Mika are sleeping. Lizzie and Carol are sitting up. Carol tells Lizzie to go to sleep, but Lizzie says she's okay. She wants to help, especially with Judy, but Carol's kind of skeptical. She says no. Lizzie wonders if there'll be kids at Terminus, and Carol says, you know what, if their parents took good care of them, there probably are children there, especially if they kept them safe. Just like Tyrese kept you all safe, but Lizzie interjects and said, you know what, I kept Tyrese safe because I shot those two people, that man and that woman, when they were trying to shoot at Tyrese. But she didn't mean to, shoot them in the head. And the way that she says she didn't mean to shoot the woman in her head is just very monotone, very dry, no expression. So right then and there, you know that something is not right about Lizzie, which is something that everybody's kind of figured out in this entire season, that Lizzie's a little bit off. So Carol tells Lizzie about her daughter, Sophia. It says she was sweet and she didn't have a mean bone in her body. This is after Lizzie asked, did Carol have any children? And Lizzie asked, would you miss me? But she never finishes her sentence, something, would you miss me if I died or if I changed? Carol doesn't answer. I think it's too painful for her to answer, but I think she was also picking up that something is a little off about Lizzie. I think she picked it up in the beginning of the season, but she's really starting to see it now. Carol doesn't answer. Instead, she sends her to sleep. And Tyrese is like having this really bad dream. He's like talking in his sleep, and then when he wakes up, he looks straight at Carol. Which Carol looks back at him, and you can tell that she has like a guilty conscience about what she did to Karen. Tyrese's cut is infected, and he has a high fever, so Carol and Lizzie, they go, and Lizzie finds like some tree sap, and they put it, on the cut. They start talking to one another while Lizzie is walking around and Mika's holding little Judy about Terminus, and Tyrese wonders how far it is. He says, that Lizzie is tough, and Carol said, yeah, she's tough when it comes to people, but not to the walkers. She just thinks that they're different. She doesn't realize that they're dead. Mika is worse than her, in Carol's opinion, because Mika doesn't have a mean bone in her body like Sophia. I guess she's saying that Mika won't be able to do it if she has to kill somebody, or if she has to, kill an actual person. Walkers are one thing, but a person, she may be in trouble when that happens. So Mika mentions, as they're walking later at the train tracks, about Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn and how they never finished it. And Carol tells them about how it ended and how the widow Douglas ended up, I think Tom and Finn and Huckleberry Finn found some money or something from Injun Joe, and what's her name? The widow Douglas adopts them, and Mika makes a comparison like Carol is the widow Douglas and she is like Huckleberry Finn, which Lizzie says, no, you're Tom Sawyer, I'm Huckleberry Finn. That's red flag number 2 that I noticed, and I was like, and then Mika mentions, she said, yeah, she's like, you are like Huckleberry Finn. He said, because you're not grossed out by dead rabbits. Nobody says anything, and I'm not sure if Carol picks that one up, but I definitely did, and I said, so that's the little one that was cutting things open. I knew what I was talking about when they found it on Facebook. So they continue up the railroad tracks. Carol smells the fire. She smells like something burning, like a fire. This is a part of my conspiracy theory, but that's Beth and Daryl's fire from the day before. Because I think everything that's happening at this point is all coinciding together, so that is burning. Meanwhile, I guess Beth is gone, and I think this is the part when Beth and Daryl are probably in that house, or in that what's it called, that funeral house, or they're walking to it or whatever. Like, everything's happening at the same time, in my opinion. Carol decides they need to look for water. Tyrese says, you know what, I can do it. Let me go. He says, no, you need to rest. Keep you and Judy here. That's what Carol says. And she decides to take Mika. Her thing for taking Mika was that she wants to, sit down and talk to Mika. Meanwhile, Tyrese is like with Judy and Lizzie. They're playing I Spy with My Little Eye. And Tyrese, when it's his turn, he notices his walker moving. And at first, when I watched the episode, I thought that, it had lost its arm and legs. When I watched it again, I realized it fell into some type of sinkhole. And it can't really go anywhere because it's stuck. So as he's about to kill the walker, he walks up to it. Lizzie comes up and says, no, no, no. She says, sometimes we have to kill them. I know that, but sometimes we don't. I don't recall anybody saying that to Lizzie, but Lizzie's kind of on her way to the land of crazy. So Lizzie is making things up on her own. Tyrese looks just as confused as I'm sure I was and everyone else who watched this episode. Like, Lizzie, nobody told you that. Carol takes Mika to talk, I guess, so that she can toughen her up. Mika says that she can run. Carol says that's not enough. She said that's why she taught the kids at the prison to do more than just run. She said, my daughter Sophia ran, and that didn't save her. It wasn't just her running. It was the fact that Sophia couldn't follow directions. And when Rick told her stay where the hell she was supposed to stay, Sophia went on her own, and that's what led to her death. And Herschel knew where the hell those zombies were, but tried to act like Herschel didn't know. Oh, Otis did it. Herschel, you knew. You had a feeling, but you were too scared to say it. I can kill walkers, she said. I can try. I'm not like my sister. I'm not messed up. But I can kill people. I can't kill people. I could never do that. So here we see Mika's weakness right here. But she also realizes that her sister's a little crazy. So that gives me the impression that Lizzie was a little bit crazy before this began. She's probably on medication. That's why I think he told Mika to take care. If I remember correctly, I could have sworn that the father told Mika to take care of Lizzie. If I'm wrong, then mention it in the comics, everyone. But I definitely can recall that. So Mika is like a little bleeding heart, in my opinion. No matter how hard Carol tries to convince her otherwise, even mentioning the attack at the prison, Mika says, I feel sorry for the people who attacked the prison, because they were not like that before. I said, you sweet little thing. Carol tells her, you have to change or you're going to die. Point blank. And it's kind of cold for that kid, but the kid had to hear it. So together they find a pecan grove. And she says, my mom used to say, everything works out the way it's supposed to. God, that's an ominous quote. The group enters the grove together. Mika sees pecans on the ground for the first time, and she's like so excited. They decide to spend a day or two at the grove, I guess to rest, because Tyrese is a little sick, before returning and continuing on to Terminus. They still see the smoke and the fire, which is from Daryl and Beth. And Carol and Tyrese decide to go inside of the house on the grove, and they want to clear the house of the zombies, clear it by room, like Michonne and Rick always do. So Lizzie stares at... Lizzie and Mika are sitting down, and Lizzie's staring at this grave with these bronze baby shoes. For anyone who's not familiar with that, a lot of parents around here, they bronze their baby shoes, I guess, to keep them on a little thing. I actually had them when I was younger, but I think we had a fire and they were destroyed. But I had them on a little thing. You bronze the baby's shoes with their name and you keep it on there. But anyway, I guess the baby died, so they took the bronze shoes and just left it there. And I don't know if the family died or say maybe some family members probably just left. She is distraught about... Lizzie's like distraught about the idea of another walker dying. This is the way that I picture it. Because she's, rather than being upset about everything, she just looks like she's crying. Looks like she's upset about Tyrese and Carol killing another walker. Out pops this walker, slowly opening up the door. I say these walkers are too smart, because they're like slowly up, like creak the door. I'm like, wow. So Lizzie is traumatized and can't do anything. She's holding Judy, but I mean, she can't even pick up the gun. Like, she can't do anything. But not for the reason we think she is. She's traumatized, and she won't say it, but she's traumatized about the walkers dying. Like, she's had this obsession with these walkers. I'm saying something's wrong with her. And it's Mika who kills the walker. Like, she shoots the crap out of that walker. Carol and Tyrese, I think they come out, and they see Lizzie and Mika sitting there, and Lizzie has to stare at the flowers like she did when their father died. She's like, just stare at the flowers, the pretty pink ones or the red ones, just stare at them. That night, Carol's crushing pecans, like the shells of pecans, to get the little pecan out of there. Mika finds a doll, which she names Griselda Gunderson. That name sounds awfully familiar, but it's so cute. Tyrese says that they have a ton of water and all they need is to kill a deer. So they're like kind of relaxed about this. And Tyrese is overjoyed about being in a living room after, I guess, being in a prison for all that time. Mika says, so relax, that's what she's saying. And Mika wants to stay there. She likes it, and everyone seems to agree, except Lizzie, who's still in her own world of crazy. Carol starts boiling this water the next day in a tea kettle, and she sees Lizzie outside playing, like, running, and there's this walker running with her, and I guess she thinks she's playing tag or something. Gotta watch that little one. And Carol ran out, and Carol pushed her when she was trying to, like, block the walker. Carol pushed her out of the way, knocked the female walker over, and stabbed her in the head. Lizzie starts having this shit fit. You killed it! You killed it! All she wanted was a Freddy! You killed it! You killed her! You killed her! She was convinced this walker wanted to play. Lizzie's one of those people in Walking Dead where I'm just like, they need to take you and put you somewhere. You don't need to be with everybody else because you are off your rocker. And Carol's like, it wanted to kill you. No, it wanted to be a friend. And I'm like, okay, let her have her little spaz attack. I would have just let the walker eat her, going about her business, because that one, strike three. So Carol and Mika are out walking. I think Carol wants Mika to kill this deer. She tries to convince Mika that she has to toughen up, but also that she needs to help her sister understand that these walkers are dangerous. She tries to get Mika to kill the little doe. I think it's a doe or a fawn. But Mika can't. And she says, you know what, we still have peaches. And that one scene seems to echo what happens to Mika, because I guess if Mika had killed that deer, she would have had enough strength and courage to kill her sister when her sister tries to kill her. When her sister basically attacks her, basically. So that part, like, yeah. Tyrese and Carol are out getting water. He has second thoughts about Terminus, and he trusts everyone, like Lizzie, Mika, Carol, and Judith, but he said he doesn't feel like he can trust anyone else. And to be honest, he's right, because I'm not all there for Terminus. Like, Terminus to me seems like a big huge trap, and whoever the hell is running that, I don't know, because Robert Kirkman was talking about a character named Negan coming soon. That's what he said at Comic-Con. So I'm wondering, is he going to be a Terminus? Like, he explained it, but I'm trying to remember exactly what he said, but he did mention that. So I'm wondering, what crazy is that Terminus? Lizzie runs out to take this mouse to feed to this walker on a train track. And Micah follows her around, and she sees this, and she's like stopping her sister, and she's like, you have to understand, you know, these walkers are dangerous. She's like, we were just pretending when we named them. And Lizzie was like, you were pretending. I was not pretending. I understand these walkers so much. I want, maybe I should become one. That'll make everyone understand. And she's reaching her hand out to that walker. And as she's about to do it, these barbecued walkers come popping out. And I think those walkers are the ones that I think when Daryl and Beth were about to leave in Still, I think that episode was called Still. When they were leaving that house that they set on fire with the grain alcohol, or the hooch as they call it, those walkers were coming toward, and they just went running, and the walkers, I guess, ran into the fire, and these are the walkers who burned up, and I guess the fire probably spread, but they burned up as they were walking into it. So, Mika basically has to pull her sister, because Lizzie's, like, in all of these barbecued, blackened, charcoal-looking walkers that are running, and I mean, these walkers are moving fast. I'm like, for somebody burned, you guys are moving extremely fast. And they're like running, screaming, and Tyrese and Carol hear them yelling, and they're running over. And then you see is Micah and Lizzie running, and they're literally like 10 feet. Those walkers are 10 feet behind them. Lizzie's like running, and her sister falls and gets caught on the gate. And you see Micah and like Lizzie's like hesitating. Then she grabs her up like, get your sister. But then I guess she wanted to see that was sign number 4. That she wanted something to happen, but then she just decided to pull her sister away. And I guess she got, I don't know what was going on in her head, but that scene stuck out to me completely. And they all just start shooting at the walkers and just shooting. And towards when everything is over and the dust settles and all the walkers are dead, Lizzie says she knows what she has to do, which I know what she has to do. She has this idea to do something to her sister at this point. This is where this idea comes from. Carol explains that to Micah that they have to kill to survive. Micah doesn't want to be mean, and she doesn't want to hurt anyone. Lizzie says, you have to sometimes. Lizzie and this monotone thing of no emotion just freaks me the hell out every time she's talking. The girls help Carol cook these pecans. So the next day, Carol and Tyrese are walking, and they say the girls like it here. Says Carol to Tyrese. And for once, Carol looks pretty happy. She wants to stay at the Grove. Tyrese says he's not really ready to be around people. And he's talking about these dreams he had of Karen and how each one differs and the different ones. And Carol says Carol, like, you can see at the tip of her tongue, she wants to tell him, Tyrese, I killed Karen, but she holds it back. And Tyrese mentions one dream about seeing a stranger kill Karen. And then another one seeing Karen in a foreign place where they had never been. And he says, we are who we are, and we do what we do because the dead are still here. The whole world is haunted. And Carol, like I said, still fighting back tears, trying to say it. And she says, you know what? Maybe the dead are teaching us, helping us, remind us so that we can live with what we have to do. Tyrese feels that, what Carol did right by everyone, including the girls. Carol tells this really funny joke about the difference between beer nuts and deer nuts. Beer nuts are $1.79 and deer nuts are just under $1. That was pretty funny. Ed was an ass, but that was pretty funny. So Carol's like hugging Tyrese, and they're like coming back. I think they come back, and Carol turns, and she sees Lizzie's, and from her fingertips to her wrist, is just red. And she's holding this knife that's tipped in red. And she runs over, and she could see Mika laying on the ground, pale, blood splattered on her face, just still. And you see little Judith on her belly, just crawling around this little blanket, and I'm like, oh my God. So then Carol's about to, like, stop her when she was like, go to Mika, when this little Lizzie pulls out a gun on her, and I'm like, what the hell? What? I was like, no, take her down. I said, it's time for her to go. And she was like, no, I just want Mika to turn. And I'm like, turn into a zombie? What the hell did you kill your sister for? Why did they leave her with Lizzie anyway? Lizzie is not trustworthy. Lizzie looked like she was crazy. I don't know why nobody else noticed that. So Tyrese and Carol tells Tyrese and Lizzie to take Judy back to the house, and Carol's gonna make lunch and a whole nine yard, leaving Carol to sit there and cry. And it's just like, it's sad because Carol once again lost another child, even though it wasn't a child that she gave birth to. It's like another child she lost, and then in this season, another child died. Just like the little girl that the governor liked, she died. So the reality of this new world is like out there and it's coming forward. Lizzie wanted to change, had this idea about changing Judith. I was like, you better get the hell away from Judith. Get away from Judith. I would have shot her right then and been like, you're gone. I don't believe in shooting and killing people, but when she did that and she's talking about killing that baby, the only way Carol was able to stop her is to tell, listen, little Judy can't even walk yet. That's not a good idea. So Carol says, I'm going to tie Mika up so she can't go anywhere. And after that scene, they put Lizzie in a room without anything sharp. Tyrese made sure to go through the room and take out everything sharp. And it gives me that impression of that scene that if, after Mika dies, that if Mika had killed that deer, would she still be alive? Would she have had the courage to at least take down her sister? It's a good question. Tyrese learned that Lizzie had a shoebox full of mice, and she fed the walkers at the prison, and she vivisected that rabbit in the tombs. I thought she did that from the jump. I was like, Lizzie did that. Lizzie's crazy. And Carol just keeps saying, you know what, Lizzie can't be around other people. I totally agree. On a side note, the episode basically ends with Carol, what's Carol doing? Carol ends up taking Lizzie out, walking to pick wildflowers. And she tells Lizzie to look at the walker. Just look at the flowers. Just look at the flowers. And Lizzie's crying. She's like, I'm sorry. She's trying to beg for her life. And to make a long story short, Carol ends up having to kill Lizzie. But she basically, even before that, she blames herself for what's going on with Lizzie. And truth be told, that was an issue from the beginning. And I think that was an issue of Lizzie's mental state, was basically an issue before the first walker appeared. Lizzie had something wrong with her, and no one was there to nip it in the bud. And if they had anything that, kept her calm, that stuff, they can't even get it with all that's going on in this world. So, like I said, Carol had to kill Lizzie and had to just look at Mika's little dead body. Just a mess. Absolute mess. And then later, after Carol buries the kids, and I think she buries them, and then she's walking and she sees a doe, and she sees that doe, and she thinks exactly what I was saying. If only Mika had killed that doe, then her sister would never have had a chance. It's the damn truth. So, Carol and Tyrese are sitting at the table later. Carol passes her little revolver over to Tyrese, and I'm just like, please don't kill her, Ty. Please don't kill her, Ty. And he grips it as Carol tells him that she killed Karen and David. But rather than trying to kill her, he basically tells her, I forgive you, but I'm always going to remember this. And basically, to sum up what he's saying, I don't have to do anything to you because you have to live with what you did, because I know it's staying with you. He says, we can't stay here anymore. He was like, we have to leave. And they're walking outside. They pack all this stuff. Tyrese has little Judy on his back. And they just leave. And they go far away. Back up those train tracks, because everything comes back to the train tracks. So, a few things that I want to address before I end this, because the following is coming on pretty soon. Here's a few things. Number one, that fire happened the night when they were sleeping, okay? That's when they set everything on fire. That's when Daryl and Beth set that fire in the evening. So Carol and Tyrese and Lizzie and Mika and Judy passed by that during the evening. Everything I'm thinking is all simultaneous. It's all going on at the same time. That's my theory. If Carol had still been at the, see, this is where Rick messed up, because instead of Rick, I understand Rick couldn't trust Carol, but rather than just facing this, he didn't, and he sent her away. And by sending her away, no one was there to truly see Lizzie turn into the monster that she became. Little Mika didn't stand a chance. As sweet as she was, as brave as she was, she didn't stand a chance. And they had to kill Lizzie either way. They couldn't take Lizzie with them because Lizzie would have tried to kill Judy next, because she basically tried to kill her a few episodes ago, so they couldn't trust her. This episode was pretty rough. Wasn't the roughest, but no, in fact, it was I thought that episode, called Still was pretty crazy. And then I thought the one before that was crazy, but this one, I thought the one with Daryl and Beth, when they were like, that was Still. And then last episode alone, I thought that one was pretty bad, but this one to me was worse than that. Much worse. But anyway, guys, I'm going to end this on a light note. Thanks for tuning in. Please subscribe. If you like this video, definitely give me a thumbs up. Check out my Twitter at Sage Valentine. My blogs, The Truth Is, on WordPress, and I hope you can handle it on Blogger. So until next week, because apparently it's going to be about Glenn, Abraham, Eugene, Rosita, and Tara, so we'll see how it goes. So thanks for tuning in, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your Monday. Have an awesome week, and if you want to tune in for my review for the following, definitely stay tuned. This is Sage Valentine, aka Etherblade. Bye, guys. Bye.